guys! Today I am doing a watercolor painting. So this is something a little bit different than my usual stuff, but I've really been meaning to record some traditional stuff, and I finally got a desk and a camera put together, so I figured now would probably be the best time. So the story behind this painting is, about 2 summers ago, I went to a fair with one of my friends, and I kind of was feeling sad, like really sad at that time. So instead of socializing too much, I snapped a whole bunch of pictures. And when I looked back at them, this is the one that I thought was the nicest. So I figured, why not make a painting out of it? So as you can see here, I'm laying down some of the lightest washes of color for the base of the painting. Now when you start a watercolor painting, you always want to start with the lights, and then you build your colors and start getting darker. So right now, I'm laying a bunch of yellows, blues, and pinks, because when I'm looking at the reference, the lightest areas are those colors. And once I'm done with the first wash, I go in with another lighter color, so if I make a mistake, I can always adjust. And I'm constantly looking at my reference. This is a big thing. You have to continuously look at your reference if you are going to be painting. I've decided that I like the placement of everything in my picture, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker color, and I will outline some of the more prominent things in my picture. And I know this is not going to be perfect, because I am freehanding this, but I know the overall outcome will still look the way that I want it to. And it will generally have the structure of everything that I'd need in this picture. So you can see me, I'm outlining some of the horses in the background and some of the just general shapes. And this isn't necessary for a watercolor painting because of masking fluid. So for all of those who don't know and struggle with keeping the whites or the lights in their paintings, masking fluid is basically glue that you can put on and peel off to preserve the whites of your canvas. So that's what I'm doing currently, and I'm putting masking fluid all over the areas that I want to remain light and all of the areas that are lighter, so I don't paint over them accidentally. So since this is a carousel, there are going to be a lot of lights on the picture, so I used a ton of masking fluid just to cover every single bulb that I could find. There were a lot of lights on this picture. I'm constantly working from my reference picture. I'm checking if everything looks good to me and if I have the same amount of lights and if the colors match up. So now the masking fluid has dried and I can get to work darkening the painting. As you're putting the masking fluid on, it will dry depending on how much you use, but less is usually more. So I'm continuing to add more and more shadows to my painting while continuously looking at my reference picture. So I'm going back in with some more masking fluid because I need to make sure that I have all of the areas that I need covered up, and I'm doing just small detailing that I want to cover. And I decided that I wanted to add the poles for later, so I am putting masking fluid over where I want the poles. So as you can see, throughout the video, I kept my palette near my painting at all times, just so you guys could see how I mixed and used all of my paints. Now, when I paint, my palette gets very dirty, and always at the end, I need to wash it because it gets stained if I don't. I do most of my detailing with my large brush, and the brush that I'm currently using is a water brush, so it's easier for me to just mix my colors and put them on the canvas because the water I have is inside of it. And I guess I feel like I'm saving time because of this. But off screen, I have a towel that I wipe the excess out onto so I don't get everything black or purple or red. So I've got everything I need. So you can see me going back in and adding different colors to the mirrors and around the carousel because the mirrors reflect what they see. They're not just black or white depending on where you are. And I'm adding more colors like oranges and soft gold to the carousel because the lights don't just give off one color or have one color. They're surrounded by many colors and many hues where the bulbs are just white. So I work primarily with lots of reds, yellows, and oranges in this piece, but as you watch, the further I go, the more color variations I'm allowed to add. And then starting to peel off the mask. With the masks for watercolor, I only recommend you do them with a heavy piece of paper, because if you do them with a lighter piece of paper, the paper underneath will most likely rip when you are trying to demask it. I'm going in with my smaller brush and I'm making more of the fine details available. And the brush I'm currently using is the 20/0 brush, and it is one of the smallest detailing brushes that I could find at my local craft store. I know you can probably get something that is a lot cheaper if you look in the nail art section, because they have a lot of very small detailing brushes, but this is where I got mine, and it is the 20/0. And it's a lovely brush, because the brush part itself is quite small, but the part where you hold it is a lot larger, and it gives me a better grip, and I have less of a chance for my hand to cramp up. So I'm adding the detailing in for everything that you sit on in the carousel, and as you can probably start to see, there are horses popping up in the background. So I have to darken them so they match the bench that's in the front, and that's currently what I'm doing. And as you can see, I'm going in with my smaller brush and I'm adding a lot of details around the mirror and around the lights. So right about now is when you want to start going back in and detailing all of the rough spots that you have. So I'll go in and I'll try to detail some of the things darker just so I can see them a little bit better. But this is also an area where you can clean up the things where the lights are. And I do that a little bit later on in the painting. Adding more and more shading because the piece still is just too light. At this point, I'm doing all of my final detailing and adding in some of the very specific details that make this carousel itself. Here's a fun tip. If you don't have anything straight like a ruler, just use anything square that's on hand. And for me, for whatever reason, I had a pack of cards next to me, so that's what I used to make this railing. I'm touching up around all of the lights and adding a few shadows just to where the bulbs are, just so you can see the difference between them and the light that they're casting. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you guys like this more traditional style of painting, leave a thumbs up. And if you guys paint watercolor, let me know something that you find difficult and something that you love about it in the comments. I hate how long it takes for watercolors to dry, but I love how everything looks in the end. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell for more notifications. I love you guys. Bye!